As soon as he set foot in the Premier League, Haaland broke the record for most goals in a debut season and then continued to maintain his devastating scoring form in the following seasons. At the age of 25, Haaland has become a nightmare for every defense, from club level to the national team. Yet, in major showdowns against the Premier League's top sides or in crucial matches, he has struggled to display his usual explosiveness, sometimes even vanishing under the tremendous pressure. This season has only just begun, but Haaland has already made an explosive start, and this is exactly the moment when the goal-scoring monster needs to awaken once again. Mentioning Haaland is to mention staggering numbers. During his time at Borussia Dortmund, he stunned all of Europe with an almost unreal scoring rate, 86 goals in 89 matches. Moving to a much tougher environment like the Premier League, the Norwegian striker was anything but overwhelmed. On the contrary, he went on to set a series of historic milestones. In the 2022-23 season, his very first in England, Haaland scored 36 goals, breaking the record for the most goals in a single Premier League campaign. After just 100 appearances in the league, he had already amassed 88 goals, an unprecedented figure. At the international level, his explosiveness continues with 48 goals in 45 matches for Norway, including 5 hat-tricks, proving that he is truly a goal-scoring monster for both club and country. What makes Haaland special is that he isn't the type of striker who only waits inside the box to finish chances. Instead, he can create opportunities for himself thanks to his blistering pace, dominant physique, and incredibly intelligent off-the-ball movement. According to BBC Sports Analysis, Haaland's finishing ability is actually only slightly above average. However, the key difference lies in his positioning. He consistently finds himself in areas with high expected goal values, effectively making chances easier for himself. That explains why he is able to score so many goals, even though his finishing rate isn't drastically superior compared to the average player. When compared with legends, the contrast becomes even clearer. Sergio Aguero was actually a more efficient finisher in terms of conversion rate, but Haaland surpasses him in his ability to generate a huge volume of high-quality chances. As a result, his overall goal tally is higher. Meanwhile, superstars like Kylian Mbappé or Robert Lewandowski often face a trade-off, either taking many shots of average quality or fewer shots of higher quality. Haaland is a rare exception. He manages to shoot frequently while still maintaining a high level of chance quality, turning himself into a beast that every defense must fear. One of the most important benchmarks for assessing a striker's class is not just scoring against smaller teams, but the ability to shine against top opponents. For Erling Haaland, recent statistics indicate that he has not been truly consistent when facing the Premier League's top sides. In his last 10 matches against these top sides, Haaland has recorded 6 goals and 1 assist, not a bad return, but still not overwhelming compared to the expectations placed on a goal-scoring monster. Looking more closely, Haaland has produced explosive performances against Tottenham with a brace, or against Chelsea where he was directly involved in 3 goals, including 2 strikes and 1 assist. These are clear proofs that when given space and the right support from teammates, Haaland can turn into a true nightmare for any defense. However, against opponents with strong pressing and well-organized defensive structures like Liverpool and Arsenal, he has often looked frustrated. The numbers speak for themselves. No goals in his last 2 meetings with Liverpool and just 1 goal in his last 2 clashes with Arsenal, showing how difficult it is for Haaland when he can't find his trademark spaces. In contrast, his record against Manchester United is highly impressive, 6 goals and 3 assists in 8 matches, meaning direct involvement in 9 goals. That's an outstanding return, turning him into a recurring nightmare for United's defense. Yet, it's important to note that this dominance isn't always guaranteed. For instance, in the Manchester Derby on December 15 last year, he was completely shut down, isolated from City's attacking play by United's defensive scheme. This shows that even against his favorite opponents, Haaland can be contained if he lacks effective pressing escape routes or sufficient support from deeper teammates. From these statistics, it's clear that Haaland's biggest challenge in big matches doesn't necessarily lie in his finishing instincts, but often in psychological factors and the heightened pressure of the grand stage. These encounters are always more intense than usual, with opponents giving maximum defensive focus. Against Liverpool or Arsenal, Haaland has sometimes disappeared, denied the space needed to unleash his speed and movement. This is the barrier he must overcome if he truly wants his roar to echo in every major showdown. Periods of stagnation in a Manchester City shirt are not entirely surprising. When you are a goal machine breaking records at such a pace, every shot and every stride draws enormous scrutiny. Multiple factors intertwine, and at times, the roar of this beast may not sound as deafening as the world expects. First of all, Premier League opponents have increasingly learned how to contain Haaland. Right after his explosive 2022-23 season, many top managers adjusted their tactics to minimize his space. Liverpool are a prime example, narrowing the distance between their lines and cutting off supply from midfield, leaving Haaland with few chances to accelerate. Arsenal, meanwhile, have deployed highly effective high pressing, forcing City to play long balls or shift wide, reducing Haaland's opportunities to receive service in his favored central positions. When the space is suffocated, his physicality, power, and pace lose much of their impact. Fitness has also played a role. During the 2024-25 season, Haaland endured a long spell out with injury, which disrupted his rhythm and sharpness. For a striker who thrives on explosive movements and razor-sharp finishing in decisive moments, losing that rhythm naturally led to a dip in efficiency. Though he has faced criticism for stalling at times, the bigger picture shows that Erling Haaland remains one of the most feared strikers in world football. The long-term numbers are undeniable proof. After more than 2 seasons with Manchester City, he still averages over 0.8 goals per game, a figure that almost no other Premier League striker of his era has reached. Compared to elite forwards like Mohamed Salah or even Harry Kane before his departure, Haaland remains superior in both scoring efficiency and record-breaking pace. More importantly, he isn't entirely reliant on his teammates. His ability to create chances for himself forces every defense to stay on high alert. With his towering physique, frightening bursts of acceleration, and clinical edge inside the box, Haaland is like a predator, always lurking, waiting for the smallest mistake. A clever run or a sudden sprint over just a few meters is often enough to dismantle an entire backline. Another example of his enduring instinct came in Norway's recent match against Moldova, where he scored 5 goals. It was a reminder that his killer instinct is very much intact, only waiting for the right conditions to explode. Against weaker opposition, Haaland can unleash his full power with ease. This confirms that the issue isn't with his finishing ability, but with the resistance level in high-stakes matches. To restore the image of the beast who strikes fear across the Premier League in Europe, Haaland must adapt to increasingly fierce challenges. First, he needs to improve his impact in big games against top opponents, the true benchmark of an elite striker. Instead of simply waiting inside the box, he should increase his flexibility by involving himself more in City's build-up play. This will prevent him from being isolated when opponents press high or limit space, while opening up more opportunities to combine with his teammates. Additionally, Haaland can expand his skill set to become an even more complete forward. Sharpening his heading, long-range shooting, free kick ability, or even playmaking could reduce his dependence on final passes. The more unpredictable he becomes, the harder it will be for opponents to contain him exclusively inside the penalty area. Ultimately, Haaland remains one of the most terrifying predators in modern football. His staggering numbers at Dortmund, Manchester City, and with Norway prove his goal-scoring instinct has never disappeared. What he is going through is merely a period of adjustment. Like every legendary striker before him, he must overcome the opposition's adaptations in big matches to reaffirm his supremacy. Once his familiar roar returns, not only will Premier League records continue to fall, but both Manchester City and Norway will rise to even greater heights. Haaland may be stalling momentarily, but the beast has never stopped hungering for goals.